I believe EDPA is now the place for us to gather. Maybe you just bought an exhibit dealership from somebody. Maybe you're a salesperson and you moved into management or ownership. I just can't say enough about how you can plug in and talk to people that are facing the same unique challenges of growing their business. And I just think this is a great community to be plugged into. Whatever your own company does to help support you, this is an extended version of ways to grow and stay plugged in and current about everything in the industry.
Strong companies, lasting partnerships, powerful events. Welcome to the Experience Builders Podcast.
Chris, you're heading out in about a month for EDPA Access. Why don't you share with us what's going on this year for EDPA Access?
And it's an exciting year. We're expecting, again, another record turnout. Engagement's very high. Very excited. We have a new executive committee member who's in charge of the event. Liz Nakran from Live Marketing has taken over as the chair for the Access event. Live Marketing is an amazing company. They provide a lot of event planning, professional staffers, strategic and creative consultations for brands that are doing big events. So Liz is bringing all of that to Access this year. So we've got some great guest speakers and good breakout sessions. A couple of cool new things that we're doing, or even some traditional things we're doing in a new way. So very excited. She also is in first chair for our future leaders group. So you know that we're going to be updating to good, fresh, young, creative thinking with how we're executing.
Mm-hmm.
So very excited about Access this year, which, by the way, shameless plug, December 2nd through 5th in Palm Springs, California. And so still time to get registered for those late stragglers. So hope to see you out there.
Go and get registered. We'll put a link to the registration in the show notes of this episode.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I want to really just cover everything about the EDPA and really just understand why someone in the trade show industry should join the EDPA. So let's just start at the ground level. I'm going to be the person
The
who
young,
doesn't know
impressionable
anything
mind.
there.
Is that who
Yes,
you're
there
going to
you
be?
go. Young, impressionable mind. Perfect. So what is the EDPA?
The EDPA is one of many associations in the business event space. It's the Experiential Designer and Producers Association. So in a few words, the majority is made up of companies that build trade shows or exhibit components and environments for trade shows, corporate events, sales conferences, even retail environments. We intentionally are keeping the membership to be skewed a little heavier for that group. So you'll always see probably more than half in the builder community, but tons of designers and creative agencies also as part. And then you will also see the rest of the makeup is specialty service providers and suppliers of things like lighting and audio visual and furniture. And so the people that all come together, the community comes together to sort of make up and deliver all the parts and pieces and services that deliver big brand events. So that's the heart of EDPA.
So I know a little bit about associations. I've been a part of some. I've seen some. What's the structure of the EDPA? Why does it exist? I think for me, I see people put an association logo on their website just to kind of give maybe some clout or some credibility. And then I also have been to some events for some associations, and they've been good, but they're infrequent, and I have no idea who's there. So give me the structure of the EDPA. I understand what it is, but how does it work?
Great question. And I love the way you just started this, because you talked about, oh, well, I've joined stuff just to have the logo on my website. We think that brings credibility to us with our prospects or customers. That's exactly why I joined the EDPA. Gosh, 15 years ago, 18, 20. It's been a while. And I think I was paying $600 as a member to put someone else's logo on my website. And I didn't plan on doing much more than that. And after a while, I go, "Well, why am I paying money just to put somebody's logo?" So I remember I went to the first event, which I think it was the year end. EDPA's year end event is called Access. So I went, and I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised. I saw many of my regular suppliers there, furniture, AV, exhibit system folks, a couple of the trucking companies, labor companies were there. Um, and I mistakenly went, and I think I paid about the time 15 or $1,800 for the full 3.5 day conference pass. And I thought I was going to be leaving there with a ton of leads. I needed that to pay off. And that's just not what this conference is about. What I realized was, and it's now become one of maybe my favorite event of the year. Um, I'm going to see way fewer people than if I go to a large trade show like the Exhibitor Live show, and where I'm going to have 80, 90, 10-minute pickup meetings very quickly in the aisle over coffee, over breakfast. Well, this is this is over 2.5 or 3 days. I'm getting encounters with 20, 30, 40 people, like really great people, either suppliers or potential partners. And we break bread, and we'll have a drink together, or we'll have breakfast together. But I'm having 2 or 3 encounters with them over several days, and they're much stronger relationships by the end of an event like that when we just get a quick pickup. So, and then I didn't go the next year, and I got busy. I'm an independent business owner, Khalil, and I think what I've learned over time is, I grew up like many, where you had an exhibit manufacturer. Then if you were not a true builder, but you were a reseller of modular or portable products, your tribe, your community was that brand you repped. I was Skyline, right? Friends were Nimlock. There's Nomadic. There was Abex. There's Octanorm. There was just a variety of different. And at some point, the people with all the power went from being the manufacturers of the systems to being the people that were in front of the customers. And a lot of the exhibit dealers, and this is one of those ones I'll name drop because I'm so proud of what they become. I started with Skyline Dallas at the time, and they're you would know them now today as the Trade Group, one of the most successful independent companies with a global identity. And they're not just about they've actually manufactured their own line of exhibit systems. I think about my friend Dick Wheeler out at Pro Exhibits. I think about Ion Exhibits, which was a large scale. I've seen how they've all populated the industry, but we no longer meet around an annual meeting of a manufacturer. We might see each other at product trainings for somebody like B Matrix or Aluvision or Octanorm, and they all do these trainings. But the community we've become has become, we're much bigger and more sophisticated, all of us. And I believe EDPA is now the place for us to gather. And we do it now several times a year. And we do it through a very active chapter network. And then we also do it a couple of times a year for the mid-year meeting for EDPA is called Engage. The year-end one is called Access. But we pick up the phone and we call each other as business leaders, salespeople, share ideas and sharpen swords, with their Zoom calls that are happening literally weekly. You can plug in and feed your brain and develop your own skill set in a lot of ways just by tapping into that EDPA community. It's really if we're not kids in school, on sports teams anymore. We're professionals supporting families and putting our kids through college, and we're looking to continue to sharpen our game and get better at what we do. And I just think this is a great community to be plugged into. Whatever your own company does to help support you, this is an extended version of ways to grow and stay plugged in and current about everything in the industry.
Okay. I've got a couple questions there.
Sure.
We'll do a short one first. So you just mentioned your company may support you. I'm thinking about it. Is there a difference in memberships, corporate membership versus just like an individual who wants to join EDPA as a professional?
Yeah, no, great point. So the EDPA membership structure, the dues structure, is really based on the size of your company, right?
Okay.
So for under $1,000 a year, if you're a small business, you can be a member. Um, if you want to check it out at a chapter level, so one of the more active chapters is the Midwest, and Chicago's kind of the epicenter for there. The Northeast up in the Boston area, you could join a chapter for, I don't know, it might even be $100 or $150. And you can go to those quarterly mixers or meetings and start to meet some people. That's a great way to get started. But it's the national chapter that's really going to add horsepower to a lot of the connections and the
Mm.
networking events. I would say there are, and we can talk about this later, but there are four pillars that really hold up the EDPA. There's really we're surrounded by the good work we do to support trade show families and include scholarships and families that have endured catastrophic events. There's advocacy for the industry, and there's a host of things that happens there. By far, I think the most popular thing is our networking events, and like I said, happens regionally, happens nationally. It's fantastic. There's fundraising around all of that, and there's just good fellowship and camaraderie. And then education, I think, is the linchpin, and that is, we all go to school for academic education, but once you're out on the job market, you want to continue that learning. And so EDPA offers a variety of ways that you can, there are tools that can help new people onboard and learn about the industry. By the way, I think we've talked about this before, Khalil. One third of all the professionals that work in the business event space are brand new to the industry within the last 4 years post pandemic. So we got a lot of new people, either
Okay.
people coming into the workforce for the first time or people that have changed industries. So it's EDPA gets that it's really important to provide some educational opportunities for people to learn new skill sets. It could be trade skills. It could just be learning about the industry. But yeah,
And
so
what does
I
that
would,
look like for the educational opportunities, like in
so that is
practicality?
this is I think this is the 800-pound gorilla in EDPA right now because you've got
Okay.
so many new people. We're we are doing formal training workshops and courses that, for example, we've done that in partnership with the Exhibitor Live Show, where there's actually accreditation through a university.
Mm.
The EDPA's contribution is new, so we're not just it's the Exhibitor Live's always been focused to the brand side trade show managers, but we realize there's a need for a curriculum for professionals that work in the industry at exhibit companies and service and supplier companies. So project management, as an example, um, learning about the operations parts of the industry. Uh, so you'll see things happening at events that are more formal like that. You'll see chapter and national guest speakers. We had a great one last year at Access. If you know the name, you may not know the name Paul Tuttle Jr., but you might remember American Choppers, the father and son show where they made the custom. Well, Jr. is Junior, and he was, they each split off and did their own brands. And you'd be amazed, here's this guy that brings $300,000 worth of high-end motorcycles, and you realize how similar his design and creative processes as he's helping brands create these unique things, whether it be for Major League Baseball had a bike. There was a company that made scaffolding. One of the bikes he had was so it was really built a lot out of those parts. And you realized our designers, and when we're creating an original exhibit for somebody, I learned a ton of information from Paul about, um, just what his thought process and design process was. Anyway, so there's stuff like that that even though you may have a higher education, academic degree, we're people that need to keep feeding our brains, right, on the creative and the strategic and where the trends are. So there's great stuff like that. We had a woman who spoke last year. If you ever saw the movie Argo that Ben Affleck won the Academy
Yeah.
Award for, and it was about a group of people that went in to rescue some hostages in Iran. And so the CIA was part of getting them ready, and they posed as a movie production company. Well, the woman who was married to the main character there, she was also in the CIA as the chief operations officer of disguises. So it's fascinating
Mm.
for her to share her creative process and go through some of what she did. Lots of great pictures that she showed us, but I'm, some of it is inspiring. Some of it is stuff you go, uh, I can actually use this on my day job on Monday. So I've plugged in. Obviously I'm a fan of EDPA, but you plug into a community that allows you to, however successful you are, I don't care if you've been in the industry for 10 or 20 years, you can take it farther with some of the resources you could plug into as a member of EDPA.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I think that education piece is really critical, especially with all the
yes.
people joining the industry. Let's talk more about the chapter piece. So is it just quarterly that people are meeting? And where are all the chapters? Is it like, am I gonna have to travel? Am I have to get a flight or can I drive to
No,
these?
great question. So I think there's enough chapters now. There's stuff going on. If it's not every week, it's every other week.
Okay.
And one of the great things about our industry, Khalil, is we are all traveling regularly, right, for trade shows for our customers' projects. So I was out recently in Las Vegas on a chapter meeting, and they had 75 people at a little dive bar pub meet for a chapter meeting, and I looked, and half of them were from out of town that were in for shows, and
Mm.
they found out there was something going on. But it's just a great way to network, and for me, I get to see a carpet supplier that I don't see very often, or my AV company, or someone who sends my company business. Right? You know us. We don't build for brands. We only build for other exhibit houses and agencies. So a lot of times for me, I get to see customers. So I try and hit those, even the out of town ones, because um, it would take me 3 months to travel and see the same amount of people if I did that one on one. So for me, the chapter events are a great way to actually save some money and get some FaceTime with some important people in my lives. But they're all, if it's not a bowling thing, it's a golf thing. If it's not a golf thing, it's a keynote speaker at a country club. If it's not that, it's a happy hour down the street from the IMEX show or the Global Gaming Show, which I just hit. So I think if you're serious in this industry, we really are a unique and special type of species. So when we can get together, we like to gather, and so this is again, it's another great way. And man, if you're a maybe you just bought an exhibit dealership from somebody, maybe you're a salesperson and you moved into management or ownership. I just can't say enough about how you can plug in and talk to people that are facing the same unique challenges of growing their business that you are facing yours. So that's a huge plus for me.
That brings up a good thing. So like, do I have to have a certain level of seniority or title that allows me to be a part of something like this? Obviously, just by the price, you're not going to get the average entry level employee joining for, maybe $1,000. But
You know what? The fee structure for dues is based on the size of a company, but the answer is if you just switched over from working for an ad agency for 9 years, and you've signed with an exhibit build company in Denver or in Southern California, and you're at a show in Vegas and heard about a chapter event, or you go to, if you say, "Oh, my company, we're a member of EDPA. This is my first time at an event," you are going to be welcomed with open arms. There is not a individual
okay.
seniority system. There isn't even one for companies. Although once you're sort of in the community, you become aware of the companies that are actively volunteering and helping, either at a chapter level or for a cause. For example, I'm during pandemic, I got very active in the advocacy game on Capitol Hill,
Yeah.
and my profile went up really not intentionally, but I was one of those ones that, was on Zoom calls and talking to elected officials and telling the story about this $100 billion industry that contributes to the US economy. And how is it my elected officials never heard of us? So that was my thing. But
Yeah.
right now, our chairperson of the education committee is Steve Deckel, the principal of Deckel and Moneypenny. If isn't that just a cool name, by the way? Deckel and Moneypenny sounds like it's Cagney and Lacey. It's a Starsky and Hutch. That's right, Steve. I'm shilling for you out here. But he is a tremendous leader and really is joined the executive committee a couple years ago, and he's now in charge of that. Michael McMahon with Hill and Partners. Are you kidding me? He's been the chair of, took over the workforce development after I sort of got it into first gear. And oh my God, there's so much happening with that need to repopulate our industry. Michael's he's the best I've ever seen at getting people, volunteers to line up. There's now 4 different subcommittees. And this is because it's not just busy for the sake of busy, Khalil. We had 300,000 people that didn't come back after pandemic. We have to repopulate our industry. We have young people that have never heard of our industry, right? We had an aging problem with the people on the show floor and the carpenters in the back of shops for builders. So we have a need to repopulate. So there's a whole apparatus behind targeting and attracting kids in VOTEC schools and high school kids and trying to bring new fresh blood in. And obviously we have hundreds of companies that are willing to create apprenticeships and internships. And so if you're looking for a job and you can make a lot of money in this industry and support a family very comfortably, but we have an exposure problem, right? We've got to get out and advertise who we are and what the opportunities are. So there's
Well,
that
what are
one.
we doing right now?
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing
Yeah.
so we've actually started the workforce development group has started exhibiting at some shows ourselves. And our theme is the largest industry you've never heard of. And so we go to where the school guidance counselors or career counselors are. Tell us how the right way to approach your county in California or in New York or in somewhere in the Midwest where we can go in and talk to the kids. The new thing I just heard this year that the chapters are going to do, when we do these quarterly events, we would meet at a club or Top Golf or someplace fun. Now they're talking about let's meet at a school campus and have our gathering there where we maybe have an opportunity to interact with some of the kids at the end of the day, tell them a little bit about who we are and what we do. We're spending some money on content and video reels, and we just want to do a better job telling our story. Anyway, why does this matter? Because we're an association, really, that all of us earn our living here. We want to give back and make sure that we stay healthy, not just for our generation, but for the ones that are following
Yeah.
on. So, yeah, it feels good to do stuff like that. It really does.
Absolutely. Well, how do people sign up? What is that process? Is there an application process? Do we have to be vetted? How easy or hard is it to join?
No, that's great. So, man, you're just asking all the right questions. Look at you. It's like you're a professional. This clip. EDPA.com is the website, and there's very easy to navigate. There's some cool videos. You can see more about some of the things we're talking about in galleries and pictures of events we've done. Easy application and registration process. Dasher Lowe, the executive director, any of the officers. If you go to EDPA on LinkedIn, you'll see a ton of people there. Hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure you get kind of an intro pack about it. But chances are, if you're already in an industry and you're listening to this, you probably already know somebody who's a member. I have more friends of mine that come up to me and go, man, I know we haven't joined yet, or we let our membership lapse. I've just been so busy. And I feel bad for them because they really don't know what they're missing. They're great. I'm thinking of one in particular. I won't name you, but your business is killing it. But your people, and you've got probably 70 or 80 employees, you get together on your company picnic and you guys go bowling and there's cliques and little friends that hang out together. But I'm telling you, take half a dozen members of your leadership team and come to an EDPA event. You know what I've learned, Khalil? It makes us all feel better. It sort of validates this crazy life that we've chosen, which is deadline driven, warp speed. You got to be part crisis junkie because that's what we do when we're at show site solving problems with all these variables that are hard to corral. But when you get to talk to and meet your species of people that go, "Oh my god, I thought I was the only one." No, there's a lot of us that do this. And then that's when the fun starts as you start comparing notes about vendors and resources in strange cities that you can plug into that make your job easier, which make you look better to your customer and your colleagues and your coworkers. So that really is, I can't. So full disclosure, I think my membership at the size I am is about $2,200 or $2,300 a year, which sounds like
Yeah.
a lot. I used to think it was a lot, but when I started, it was $850. That's how much my business has grown. And oh, by the way, I probably spend an average of another $20 or $25,000 a year, which I never would have imagined doing that.
Mhm.
But with sponsorships and travels to send my people, I don't send everybody, but maybe the high achievers, or sometimes we use it as an incentive. But the management team of the key 4 or 5 people, they get to go regularly to these events, and they come back just jazzed and recharged because they get to talk to their peers. I don't care if you're operations or your sales and marketing or you're creative and you're interacting with the designers. There's something about connecting with your peers and validating the career choice you made. Lots of opportunity for recognition, and it's Khalil and I were joking, and if you're not watching and where you can see my expression and you're listening, someone just hit me up today with an email that said I was nominated for one of the top, most 100 influential people in the industry, and I'm going, well, there's that, Khalil. I'm going to need a crown and a robe to prance around with. But you know what? That just comes from being in service to others, which so many
Yeah.
of our listeners here are already that. They're doing it at their company level or at their local level. And if that's your thing and you're passionate about that, why not add one more thing and get involved at an
Yeah.
industry level? So, but yeah, it's a
Well,
great community to join.
yeah, I think with any association or group, whatever, you get out of it what you put into it. So obviously, it's not just about registering, it's about showing up, it's about being present at the events, it's about connecting with people. So if I had to give reasons for why you should join the EDPA, I think you don't know what you don't know. And by being a part of an association like this, you're going to be at the forefront of what's happening in the industry. You're going to be able to see your blind spots more clearly, and you're going to be able to be at the front edge of what's happening in the industry for your company and take your company to better places because of that. I think on another level, you're going to be able to train your workforce with better education, better resources, and better knowledge at a much better rate than you are if you're just doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think, on top of that, your network is your net worth is a common phrase.
Mm.
And this is only going to add to your network in a positive way. It's not going to take away from it. It's going to get you into some circles that you probably wouldn't be in otherwise. And because of that, your net worth as both a, owner, manager, leader, and as a company will improve because of that. So those are some things that I think are just kind of, listening to you for the last 30 minutes, highlight and stick out to me as why someone should join. Have I missed anything, Chris?
No, you know what? You just said it, right? Look, it's a global economy, right?
Mm.
And you're not everywhere. And your clients do go everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
as good as your company is, we need each other to fulfill our customers' projects. I don't care if you're traveling across the US, but you're going to need a labor partner, right? That's going to help take care of them in San Diego, right? Or you're going to need an AV company, or you could ship it cross country and realize you'll end up spending twice the cost. So, I've been in my own business for over 30 years. There was a time that we did everything and we shipped everything. Business is too fast. The brand side clients are going to too many faraway places, right? You've got to develop your own personal network. And here's the last thing I'll say. We used to be an industry at the EDPA, an association where we sold stuff, right, that we built. And now, you know what we're selling? People are paying us to deliver experiences between their brand and their customers. And if it's about experiences, that means there's usually a collection of service. You can be competitive at your core offering, but you're going to have to offer additional support services and complementary things to help them with the whole project. That's how you keep good customers. Those are the kind of customers that you want. So, global footprint, you can't be everywhere. You might as well, how do I find and plug into that network of resources? Like you said, it's your network is your net worth. And I can tell you as a guy that's a grunt on the service side of things, you've heard me say it before on the show. We're in an industry. It's not what you know, and it's not just who you know. It's what you know about who you know. It's not
Yeah.
enough that I know a guy that does AV in Las Vegas or in New York. I need to know enough about that person that they're really good and that I
Mhm.
can co-sign for them and call them. And oh, by the way, if I've met them at an EDPA event, I know they'll take my call, right? And there's a personal connection there. So again, the money that I spend is just, I'm going to spend it anyway to go travel and see people one-on-one. Might as well have some fun with it and do it at a
Yeah.
larger event. What EDPA does, it will create these networking events and give us a very fun, comfortable setting to get together and talk about things we would normally try and do one-on-one. So rant over about why you should join EDPA, but like I said, hit me up on LinkedIn. You can go to edpa.com and read a little bit more about that. There's some awards coming up at the annual event, which is a lot of fun to see the people that you meet succeed and get to see their work showcase. And that's always fun. And
Yeah.
the chapters have done a whole thing where they usually have a what they call a chapter challenge at the end. So if you're that competitive person, right, watch the Las Vegas office or chapter and the Texas chapter take on, the
Mhm.
Midwest or the Northeast chapter. A lot of pride there. And anyway, a lot of fun. All that does is build even more camaraderie. So hope
That's
to
fun.
see
Well,
any of the listeners out there.
yeah,
EDPA.
that'll be fun. We'll put links to both EDPA access registration in the show notes for current members, and then we'll also put registration for people that want to sign up for the EDPA in the show notes as well. If you sign up, Chris has said he'll take you to lunch. He didn't say that, but
Oh, we've
um,
got a bad is this on? I think there's a bad connection there. No, listen, we're a month away from the Access event, so I hope if you take the leap and come to the big meeting, you'll be hooked. And I absolutely first round's on me if I see you out in Palm.
there you go. All right. Thanks, Chris.
All right, thanks, Khalil. See you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Experience Builders podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great content. Visit our website at crewxp.com to learn more about us. See you in the next one.